all during the meeting.
That's
I was counting on sitting there,
Are we-
sitting here and looking at you.
Are we ready
Yeah.
to call us to order?
Yep.
I'm Barbara, if you're ready. Okay, I'm gonna call us to order at 4:03. So we'll start with a roll call. Jennifer? Here. I'm Catherine Brady. I'm here. Marilyn? I'm here. Hallie?
Here.
Sashi is abroad visiting her father, so she's not going to be here unless she got the Zoom invite and Zooms in, but time difference is probably a problem. Barb Nagy? Here. Carl? Ada? Here. Marie? Here. And Jenna is not with us. She might Zoom in again if she got the information. I see no members of the public. Anyone have communications? I'm actually a member of the public. I'm sorry. You're still a member of the public. Yes. Do you have anything to tell us? Any communications? All right. In that case, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the November 20th meeting?
So moved.
And a second again, Marilyn. Does everybody need a few minutes to look at them or?
Yeah, I lost them on my computer, so I get to look at them.
Are there any items for discussion or corrections on it?
We needed to approve the minutes first. We needed to approve the minutes and then you ask for.
We already made a motion to approve.
Did we?
Now we just, yeah.
Okay. Went to the Bahamas for a few minutes.
So are there any corrections or comments on the minutes? All in favor of accepting the minutes as they stand, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining?
I will, because I did not attend.
Okay. So that means the minutes are passed. Thank you very much. We will move on now to the review of statistics.
So the only thing of note, 2 items, the library homepage seems to be did very well for November. I'd like to say I know what spiked to that huge number, but I don't. But it means people are looking out on our homepage and using our site. I'm also wondering if it has something to do with the online calendar situation that we're dealing with, people coming on to see, you know, if they can look and see what's available for the rooms and what items, you know, what's happening at the library. So I don't expect it to be the same next month, but you never know. The other thing of note is we have seen a couple small dips over some of our items like the circulation, even our meeting rooms that are very popular, but that is actually not surprising for a November. November starts to dip because the holiday, we have actually 2 holidays. We have off during Veterans Day and Thanksgiving. And people know now that we are closed for multiple days during the month. And some of our programs take a little decline. We've known that for some years now. In December, probably as well, might be like that too, just because people are busy. But we shall see what that looks like next month. Have any questions?
With that, then we'll move on to the director's report.
So first item of business, the budget, we are in full swing. I mentioned last time that we're just starting the process. We've entered in a lot of our, most of our operating budget has been placed into our software system, but we're supposed to have everything due by January 14th. Pretty standard. It's usually the 15th by charter. Right now, what we're seeing for some changes is, of course, personnel is always fluctuating because of minimum wage increases. That's always going to be something that comes up every year. So we're anticipating that. Union contracts, contractual raises, we always look at that. And so that's personnel. And then for the operating budget, I can tell you the subscriptions, as I've mentioned, maybe last year and the year before, subscriptions for any type of software or technology is starting to creep up. So we're anticipating some increases on that as well. Other than that, some things are pretty standard. We do expect to see more borrow it money coming through. That has not been told to us that anything's being cut, which is good. As I mention every year at the council, that's always a question mark because it could be a discretionary fund that could be cut from the state budget. But thankfully, the governor seems to be very interested in seeing libraries succeed. So that remains still in the state budget. So, question
For this borrowed money, I've gone from the past, but it used to be more dedicated to the integrated library system, the ILS. Is that still a purpose for borrowing?
No,
It doesn't have to be, but that was how.
Right.
It was spent.
The great thing about Borrow It is it's really left up to anything on library services that we feel we need or we need to support. And that could be technology, it could be personnel. And I say personnel, probably not the best fund to put personnel in, like if we had like a library aide or somebody for that money. For the simple fact that, again, it could be questionable every year. And we can't really rely on having to hire somebody that might not be there the next year. We used to have it where we put our ILS, which is our library software system, the backbone of our library, into that, and it was a great use of funds. However, because of the volatility, you don't know, that to me felt best needed in the operating budget. And then we utilize that money now for things that, some of the things that could possibly go to a CIP. We instead utilize that money to balance that out. So in recent past, we used to put in CIPs like servers or updating things in technology that can be very pricey. And so we use that fund to purchase servers or purchase, if we can, if it falls under that. We also don't really have money set aside for furniture and things. So we use that money to make some nice upgrades to the library, like furniture, tables, meeting room, chairs, which are hopefully coming soon. So we use those discretionary funds for. So yeah, we're just keeping on the budget. And then staffing update, as I've told you, this whole year has been very challenging with retirements and just people moving up in the world, and that's great. But of course, that means we have to go through hiring processes, and it's taking some time. So we just, our youth librarian just started on Tuesday. I should say Monday, but they were at Human Resources. But they have hit the ground running, seasoned youth librarian, or I should say seasoned librarian, and has worked at Westerly Library, and that's where she comes from. And she's also worked at the London Public Library, amongst others. We're happy to have her. Her name's Stacey Clark, and you will be seeing her out and about at the desk and doing some programming. One of our staff members that was out on medical leave, she is back part-time. We're very excited to have her back. So we're seeing more activity at the desk with being able to fill slots at the desk. And as for the assistant director, we have just completed the first round of interviews, and second interviews are to come, most likely the first week after the new year, just because the holidays being closed and whatnot, creating some blockage in getting that done. So we've waited this long, so we're looking forward to have those second interviews.
Is the posting still active?
No, I've taken it down.
Okay, because it did come up in LinkedIn.
For some reason, some of the algorithms on the social media sites will stay for a while, but they have definitely taken down from the town website.
Okay.
And I don't know what parameters if they have to go in and, take them off some other way, but if human resources handles those, I will tell them that it's still up if they can do it. So we're looking to a better year, full staff. And of course, we still have a library assistant that's vacant, a full-time at the circulation desk. We're heading into interviews in the next, I'm hoping, early next week. So, and that one has closed as well. Questions? E-rate, that's our public internet. As I mentioned to you, things have changed a little bit. The state library used to do the bidding, and now all the public libraries are doing their own bids. Very agonizing process. Probably would have been a little easier, but we're collaborating with Mystic, Noink, and Bill Memorial to work together on being a consortium for the public internet process. And we have put everything out to bid. So we are now in the waiting game of a 28-day period where we're receiving bids from different internet providers, and then we evaluate them. And from that point, we make a decision. Our deadline is mid-January, and then from that point, we file our normal procedures of, billing, asking for the provider to see what they can do for us. So that's in the works right now. Online calendar. The last time we met, I told you that we were transitioning to a new online calendar, and it is live as of Monday. It definitely still needs some tweaks, but what I can tell you is you can click on the link on the website. You'll notice that the icon that is on the website looks a little cartoonish, but we are going to try to update that. We're still learning how to put like a RSS feed or a better looking calendar. But what we wanted to do is just have it functional for people to actually click on the link and be able to open it up and see the calendar itself and see what activities and things are going on. We've also phase 2 of the first phase was to get the foundation and software, working. And then the second part was to get the staff to understand how to input all of their events. And then the third phase was to make it live. Now, fourth phase, of course, is to tweak it to make it aesthetically pleasing for the public. It's got the interesting thing about this calendar is there's so many features that we could turn on, turn off. We're going to, explore that and see what else enhancements we can add as we go along. But at the very least, the only thing we're missing at this point is we're still doing paper calendar for the walk-ins, because the online calendar is segmented between events and appointments. So we are just trying to transition how that's going to look and work. But at the very least, you can see what events are in there. I just wanted to mention building updates. I don't think I've talked about this in a long time, but we have gone, the Public Works has gone for, has put the bid out for the roof. And I was told that there was a number of bids that came through. I want to say upwards of 20. and they were all under bid. So, whomever they're choosing, haven't gotten to that step yet, but we're definitely in the throes of, getting that roof, started and very excited about that. Thankfully, knock on wood, we haven't had any roof related issues thus far. I think they've mitigated what they could until we get started with the roofing process. So that was the main building update I have for you. And then some things that we've talked about in the past, and it's just kind of they're out there. Where are we now? So the walking path we've discussed many, many, many times. That was going to go around. Now that the rink's installed, I'm going to put in a walking path that goes around the quasi soccer field in the back, which is really the library grassy parking lot, extra parking lot. They're going to be putting in the walking path and also around the library building that will connect to the sidewalk out in the front. That I just asked at our last meeting. They are thinking spring is when that's going to be started. So all these, I think they were waiting to see what the rink was going to happen and how that was going to flow. Plus the pickleball was delayed a bit. So I made some construction.
Remember, is it in the plan to connect a walking path across the street to the community center on which the school building?
I do.
Running through the
I don't know yet.
Farm.
There was plans drawn up for that. But I think there's still the discussions with Dr. Burrows have still been, a big question because of, was the town interested in looking at that or, but I don't know at this point. The hope was to do that. So there was all interconnected with everything, especially with students going back and forth and, but I do not have any further. The USS Groton sale, they are still meeting here. There's multiple subcommittees, which is great. We're moving along. The only thing I wanted to note is they have a newsletter now. And so latest updated information, you can go to their website. And of course, I didn't write it down, but if you look up USS Groton sale in the Google search, it'll bring you up to the website. And right on the website, you can click on digital newsletter and you can sign up for it. And hopefully they should have a monthly one. I've already printed out the first one so you can have it for historical purposes and the local history rep. And I have been told that they're looking to continue their fundraising with some of the items that they've collected to put on their Give Smart site. They asked if they could use the display case in local history in January. So if you're interested, they should be putting that up. So displaying some items and you can bid on them through the Give Smart site. And all of that can be found on the website, all the links for that.
The sale website.
Yes. Questions? We talked about Circle of Friends briefly. As I told you that the Junior Friends, they're really trying to push along Junior Friends, but unfortunately the toy swap, I think there was only one person that showed. And then the outdoor cleanup, I did not get any feedback on that, but I do not think that anybody that is available to come. But that, we recognize that there's a lot of activities going on, even for us, let alone the friends. I mean, just seeing the people that are not really, people are just out and shopping and visiting family and doing things, after school activities. So, but the Bose Books and Baking did very well. Had a lot of activity in here, lots of food. So that was really nice, and it's always great. The book sales always do phenomenally, so we're really excited that people actually look to the calendar and they're like, when is the next book sale? When is the next book sale? We get that question pretty regularly. So that was a really great event. And then Paper Pie Pop-Up Book Fair, a little less than last year's, I believe the treasurer said around $400, and the library will get a portion of that. Past programs, Jim Streeter, town historian, was here. He did a book signing and he sold 25 books. So we're very excited that he was here. Of course, he made a donation to the library for a portion of the book sales. And so he was very pleased with the turnout. And we still have people coming in asking if they can purchase books. So
Are they available?
they are. So there's hardcovers and soft covers. The hardcovers are $31 and the soft covers are $26. And basically, like I told last time, it's a compilation of a lot of his articles into the newspaper. And it's just,
My husband asked for one for Christmas.
nice. It's a lot of holiday gift giving this year for that.
Are they signed?
I don't know if he signed all of them.
Mine was not. So
No.
perhaps not.
Okay.
And he could sign it. He's in here enough.
I know where he lives.
We do.
Yeah.
And Seasons of Celebration was December 7th. They had an, we had thought that the traffic was gonna be quite an issue, and thankfully it was not an issue. Little lower attendance than last year, but if you're really interested to see what went on, Patrick from GMTV did an excellent video. I think he captured the spirit of what happened over there very well, and that's on GMTV, so you can watch that. It's the Seasons of Celebration.
Okay.
I attended that. It was a wonderful event. A
Nice.
lot of kids were dancing from one of the local schools, and
Oh,
the Ledyard carolers were there, and it was festive. Everyone was having such a good time.
Yeah, it is a really nice event, nice community event. And two upcoming programs that I wanted to just mention, it is that time of year, winter reading is upon
oh
us.
dear.
I always like to highlight that because why wouldn't we? We're a library.
Mhm.
And we're gonna have a little prompt that we're giving out to people. We're doing weekly raffles. And it's January 2nd to March 2nd. So this is from Ann, complete a challenge, you get a raffle ticket for the grand prize drawing, which is a Kindle Fire, a new one. And like I said, weekly raffles as well. So we'd love to have you participate in winter reading. And then the other item is a book discussion. It's a community book discussion. It's called What If We Get It Right? And I wrote up in the agenda there, Connecticut Sea Grant and Yukon Library, Avery Point. They're joining with us as well as the public, Bridgeport Public Library. And they're hosting these discussions at both our library, Bridgeport, and a virtual. And they're talking about this book is about the perspectives of scientists, natural resource professionals, poets, and artists and positive responses to climate change. And there is a Connecticut Sea Grant person who's going to be moderating the discussion. So we'd love to have you. We will have books available here, but to register for any one of those three events, you'd have to go online at that link that I put in the agenda. Yes.
So it's Saturday. And
The one that's
Is
here.
that on the 11th? Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, the 11th. And then there's a virtual one that, and it's not sure driving to Bridgeport, but you may want to. The other thing I did want to mention, because it's related to book discussions, is we just found out too that the One Book One Region is going to be happening sooner than later. They've decided on a book. It's the All Connecticut Reads book from 2024. Don't Cry for Me by Daniel Black. I can make copies of this, but the kickoff is going to be Wednesday, January 29th, 4:30 at the Red Barn at Mitchell College. Yeah, we can pass it around. And Kevin Booker will be the keynote speaker. Everybody, if you don't know Kevin Booker, he's fabulous and does a great job and not only moderating discussions, but as a speaker. And then the finale will be March 31st on a Monday on College, and that's when the author Daniel Black will be speaking. And we'll pass this around, and I can also make photocopies for you if you're interested to learn more. Oh, you coming up?
You read it for book club. It's a very
Oh,
good book.
good book.
Excellent. A number of copies here.
I know, Anne has said that initially when we were talking about which books, she connected with the author. They had a very good conversation. She's very excited about the book and as well.
Good.
Yeah, good discussion.
Anyone have questions for Jennifer on any of her report? If not, we will move on to new business, which is an update from Ada.
I don't have a lot to report on. It's been kind of a crazy month leading up to winter break. I know Fitch is kind of winding down, but marine science is just winding up. We are doing our midterms. We do them the week before Christmas break, so that we actually have like a true break. We don't have to worry about midterms. I'm in the middle of that right now. But our robotics team is also ramping up because build season is the first week back after break. So like a off weekend before we get the game video. So yeah, it's just been pretty busy, but all good. No, nothing else really to share.
We are grateful that you came in the middle of midterms.
Yeah.
I really have to do this. I already studied on tomorrow.
Are most high schools in the area doing that? That's usually midterms are mid-January.
Yes, most midterms in high schools all around are at the end of their second quarter. I don't know why marine science does it this way. I think we're the only one that does kind of in this area, but we do it the week before. So when we get back, we still have a little bit of quarter 2 left, and then we transition to quarter 3. So it's not truly in the middle of the year. So it is definitely a little bit peculiar.
Yeah.
But then at least it saves you from studying for midterms and then AP tests. So
Absolutely.
it does provide a nice little cushion there.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Enjoy your vacation.
Yes.
I think we all expect you to do well. Good luck.
Yeah.
Oh, and I will add that my husband and I went to the robotics fundraising breakfast.
Yes.
It was really fun. You should think about it in years to come. We had a wonderful time. Demonstration of the robot, really nice people, a lot of energy.
Good, exciting.
That brings us to talking about the elections that we need to have in January. Every January, we elect a slate of officers for this board.
Yeah.
And so today is the day that we come up with the slate of people to serve on that slate to be voted on in January. So the first position we will talk about is that of secretary, which Barb Nagy has been doing a wonderful job on. Are you interested in continuing? Does anyone else wish to step forward? Have at it.
Oh, good. I would be willing to continue.
Barb, you're a
Oh, yay.
wonder. Thank you. I will.
Don't all shout out.
Right.
Yeah, really. I will say, as I always do, that your minutes are just superb. Yeah, and thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Maria is our current vice president. Would you be interested in continuing in that position?
Well, we haven't talked, but if you wanted to swap, my life has calmed down a bit, but that's totally, yeah. I mean, I would be willing to serve on the board and then ask you for it.
Okay, so that brings us to a combined discussion of president, which or chair, which I
But
am
not to usurp. That's
currently. I'm happy to continue as chair. We can open that to any of the rest of you who might want to serve. Hearing very little. I'm easy with either being the chair or the vice chair.
I recommend you stay on this chair
Okay,
because you're doing a great job.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
aren't you nice? Well, I, as you all know, I love the library and it's an honor to be the chair of this committee. So I would be happy to, if you're okay with going, being put up for vice chair again.
Unless anyone else would like to be. Again, I'd be honored.
Thank you very much. So we're all set for that. Appreciate your stepping forward again, you two. Oh, That moves us to old business now, and I have excellent news in that both Jenna Lowenstein and I have been reappointed for the next 3 years.
Oh, yay.
I got that just a few weeks ago from the town clerk. Now, a little bit more work on the student representative applications. We had looked those over fairly carefully last time,
Mhm.
but there was a very appropriate suggestion from Chuck that we think more about gender inclusive language, which we have done now. And those new copies are here. We've also changed just a few minor things, adding words here and there, but we wanted to give you a chance to take another look at these before we actually finalize them.
Are we looking at the middle school?
It's
Or are we
actually
looking at
all-
the
I think we
application?
made changes to all 4 of them.
Yes, we did.
So I guess I should ask right now, may I have a motion to approve these new sets? And then we will discuss.
Individually or as a group?
As a group, we can do them all in a kind of a chain. So if I could have a motion to approve them,
So moved.
Marilyn,
I'll
and a
second.
second by Barb. Do you need a few minutes to look at these? I know they were on the email that Jennifer sent, but everybody's so busy these days. Not really sure you would have found the time to read them.
I do see one sentence that I just wanted to ask if the intent has changed from the past. And that is, for the middle school application, also on first one. But after responsibilities, the bullet that was the responsibilities. Student representatives have the same responsibilities as regular board members. Does that mean voting? Doesn't think in the past, student reps
In the very first line, it indicates the first line of the
non-voting.
description or non-voting
Okay, is that
representatives.
a conflict to have same
Uh,
responsibilities? I just don't know if that sentence is necessary to have the same responsibilities. Which almost sounds like it
Yeah,
might be voting responsibility as well. Not just-
should we say the same responsibilities as regular board members, but do not vote?
That would-
Hmm,
that would be more
Just
clear.
to reiterate
Right.
that.
exactly.
That would also carry to the high school.
Yeah. Make the same notation on that. Thank you.
Like that, excuse me if I don't put this on the application, I just say. Because we're now having our meetings recorded, the middle school, do we need to have permission to be recorded? And,
I think yes.
that's what I'm thinking also, parental permission.
Typically,
All
what
of them under 18.
typically what we've done in the past anyway is we've asked, as Edith and Haley, when they came on, asking them to fill out if their parent permission to be all of the media related that could be
Right,
with the
right.
library.
This is kind
So
of
they
the-
sign off, and we could also we could include that with the package,
Should
and we
we
could
put
add that as
should we put a sentence to that effect on the description of the position?
Oh, in the actual.
The first statement under responsibilities, attend and participate in monthly meetings of the Groton Public Library Board, which will be videoed.
Oh, that's.
Televised live.
Televised,
recorded,
yeah.
And
Yes.
archived. recorded.
Mhm.
Which are televised live and archived.
Parental.
Televised and recorded.
It's under-
Televised live. and archived.
They're all underage, almost all
Well,
underage.
seniors possibly. but
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
think-
people can come on.
Oh, okay.
No, I think it's important to be
Say
included
something
because we
about
will
public
have
work.
them fill out that form.
Right, that's ongoing, that will be.
They're not
They're not on
just
GM.
recorded in archive, they're publicly viewable.
Right.
That's really the issue.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I would say something like they're publicly viewable or something, or publicly available.
Which are televised live and publicly available thereafter.
Mm-hmm,
Televised
live.
and publicly.
Available thereafter. Should we have a sentence right after that saying, students under 18 need parental permission? Or,
With the section at the end of. the
Yes, I was just gonna
application
say, yep, there is.
Where parental guardian signatures required, you could add a section to that. I give permission for my child.
Oh,
to be-
yes.
It's recorded, yes or no.
Right.
now, would that be a separate permission or would that be part of serving on the board? Because if they weren't willing to have their child be recorded, that would be a problem in interacting at the meeting.
You could put them in mass,
That's just- And then out of view of the camera.
right?
We may, could,
Bag
as
on
I
their head.
mentioned to Ada, she could have, while her parents did sign, she could have her. Back of her head.
So you're thinking that a parent would only object to being seen on camera as opposed to heard.
That's, I would think, but I can't speak for.
Okay, I guess that could be a discussion with the parent if it came up.
Yeah.
So in that case, we could include that permission right in that same line. I give
Mhm.
permission for underlined to serve on the Groton Public Library Board and be,
Recorded.
yeah,
To have an option for serve on the board, but not be recorded. Somehow, like, I'm happy for them to come to the board, but I don't want them to be recorded.
How do we accommodate?
Like we were just saying,
putting them off camera.
come on camera, but then you need to figure out if your audio recording is,
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think that we should withhold a student from being here if their family objects to their name.
Their voice would still be.
Yeah.
He can do, never, we can disguise their voice like they do in, witness interviews.
Well, maybe something should be stated though in the beginning, in the description or. As part of the reasoning that we're going this route with one of
At the
I
town
mean,
department.
three
Mhm.
that has not been being recorded and we are under the FOIA like standard of things. So
I think back in the newly revised handbook, is there about when students attend programs for underage? Is there any language there that might be applicable to this as well?
Remember that?
I can't recall if we did or we did. I'm going back to my high school.
oh, in the
Like
policy,
about-
in our library manual.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
no.
so in the policy then about underage.
I
don't
don't
think
believe
there
there
is.
Participants recording this.
Yeah.
I don't think there is. I don't remember that.
Are the names of students are they listed as board members anywhere? On the website?
We
or-
just put student representative. We don't list the people.
Although they're on the minutes, which are publicly available.
Which are posted.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that it's an open forum meeting. It truly is. That's why we're in a meeting such as this.
Mhm.
So, and we are in a public building, which rights to privacy are a little bit different. So in other words, if the day comes in, wants to take pictures, they can. It's a public space. If the parent is like, I'm not interested, they'll just walk out with their child, but the day or, they do have the ability to come in because it's a public space, to take pictures of the whole group, even if their faces are facing. It's really up to the parent to decide if they want to walk out or not, but we have always in the past just gotten signatures just for our own, just to ensure that people feel comfortable. Or at least let them know that, the day is coming. So just.
So the form that you're talking about, that people have signed
Yes.
historically,
Mhm.
that talks about pictures and video. and-
Yes, it's media basically at the library. Sean
It's a release.
houses them as an archive to ensure that we have
Media
that they
release.
videotaped and, we have signatures for,
So maybe we should include a statement about a video release.
we can, and that is in the
Document.
policy now.
Is it?
Mhm. So we can look at that. I can-
Rather than having the release on the application, just have a reference to it.
To the fact that there
Yes.
is one, and
Mhm.
that might be a better way to open up with the parent if they're concerned about, the face being on the Zoom,
Right.
such.
Would it be possible and part approved, so to speak, to pause recording during a representative's speech? Barb was like, how do you make that happen?
It just seems to go against open meeting,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
That's
yeah,
reserved for
FOI.
executive session.
Right. And you gotta figure if you're at a, going to council, and you've got a citizen petition, and what if it was a student that wanted to speak, which we've had. Students have come, or, under the age of 18, have come to speak to their school or speak to whatnot, and they don't bleep them out, they don't, they allow them to speak, and
Do they have to sign a release?
that I don't know, I can find out.
So I guess the other side of this is saying
Don't
we
believe so.
are, as a public, we-
Mhm.
therefore,
Mhm.
you acknowledge that your child
Will be participating.
will be recorded,
yeah.
that those meetings are archived.
Right.
And as a parent opt not to have the child participate or apply.
That's what I would lean toward.
I think so too, when I think about it, but I think we have to acknowledge that
Mhm.
applications is.
Yeah.
And if this is
Well,
not.
and it's funny enough, when we put this together, we weren't actually recording, so
Right, so we
that's
weren't
why,
thinking about
yeah,
that.
an additional.
No, so we're never gonna get it right.
Well, I said, I agreed. I was like, that is something I had considered when
Mhm.
originally talking about that.
So. My feeling is that it might be better for us to try to draft out language offline and then bring it to the next meeting,
Mhm.
because it's gonna be a little
Right.
awkward, and I'd like to take a look at that
Look at that.
release form to make sure that that fits in with all this as well.
Right.
But at the moment, I wouldn't mind if we accepted the changes that we've already made. Or would you rather wait on those as well? So we were pretty much in agreement about the ones that we've already annotated.
What about the non-voting
Exactly.
or other?
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this up for a vote to approve these with the following changes at this stage, and then we'll speak about them again next month in terms of the Zoom and release forms. So we agreed to add on both of the descriptions under where it starts, student representatives have the same responsibilities as regular board members, but do not vote. So that
Mhm.
phrase is going into both of those. And that was all that we had agreed upon so far. So can we vote
Did you
on?
want to include the language about what will be publicly viewable? Which, like, where you
I think
wrote
we're gonna
there?
hold on that.
I think
Okay, so
because-
none of that.
We're gonna work on
Okay.
that offline to make
Language.
sure it matches with the release form
Okay,
Yeah,
and all, but,
all right.
but
we can
I,
also check into with, the form that we have had people sign in the past and see how that relates.
Okay.
but just to make sure I have captured this in my own mind, are we agreed that a student representative on the board really needs to agree to be recorded,
Yes.
to be a full member and
Yes.
That's all right.
Mhm.
excellent, thank you. Okay, so everyone in favor of making just that change for now about do not vote, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, that passes unanimously.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all of the dedication and the specificity with which you folks have always looked at all the documents that we've been throwing at you for the last 2 years. It's
Yeah.
been a big job, but you take it really seriously, and that's great.
All right.
The final thing on our agenda here is America's 250th anniversary, which I'm turning over to
And
Jen.
I feel absolutely terrible because something that I've told Marilyn for at least 3 months, 5 months now. We're gonna have a meeting on the 250th and it's just not coming to fruition. What I can tell you is I'm looking at the week of January 6th. I'm gonna have the 7th is, I believe I'm doing interviews, but I'd like to see if I can fit in the 8th or 9th. And I don't, one thing that I've discussed with a couple of you who are interested to participate, anybody can. I'm basically gonna have an agenda, send something out, even on Zoom, so people can participate that way. But what was I gonna do? What would be best? Is mornings or evenings, like the 4 o'clock or a morning? I talked to one person that said mornings are better for them, but I just want to kind of get a consensus, so more people participating.
Anytime is fine.
Anytime's fine.
Late morning is.
Late morning.
Probably best for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same for you?
Yeah.
And anybody else? So,
Anytime, really.
I know you weren't there
Not 8
last time,
o'clock
Marie,
in
so, we're really looking to, what I was hoping to envisioning is that the library wants to participate in providing programs and displays for the 250th celebration, gearing more towards Groton region. If it means spilling out to, New London Ledger, then we can do that. I've talked to Mystic and Knowing Library and Bill Memorial. So we're not doing the same duplicate programs every month. I envision having at least a minimum at Groton, at least one a month that's relatable to celebrating our nation's founding. What I was hoping to do by creating more of a group, historical societies, people that are interested in history or have ties to some of the boards, could be anything from creating a calendar of events so we know what's going on for the whole year or 6 months at a time. Also kind of brainstorming, is there some collaborative things that we can do? Clearly, I don't want to duplicate things that are happening at the monument.
Right.
But
We've
people
already,
are very interested in so many different things. We'd like to highlight as much as we can. I've also talked about creating some kind of trail map. Maybe it starts just with Groton and going to significant places, and it can be all inclusive of all cultures, it doesn't have to just be the American Revolutionary time. It can be, it's celebrating America. However, my personal interest lies in the American Revolution, so I might be a little more interested in throwing out programs for that. We do have Patrick on GMTV. He has made videos on the monument and doing different historical things. So the great part is we also have GMTV that can record a lot of these programs. So it's just really the first one's going to be about brainstorming why we're here, what we want to do collectively as a group, and see where that takes us. But I think the bottom line is just getting something on the books because it's important. Groton was extremely, New London Ledger, they were all extremely important during this time, and it'd be a shame to not highlight this and have this planned somewhat. We do have some people that have already expressed interest, like we have some retired history teachers. I know a council member is very interested. The RTM moderator is very interested because all history lovers. So why not? So
I reached out, though I haven't heard back. I'd gotten Thames River Landing, Heritage Landing, Heritage Park, them. I'd gotten an email from Marcy about programming, and I had said something about the need for a master calendar because there are going to be dozens and dozens.
really
of
are,
events.
there really is.
At Fort Griswold, we already have half a dozen things on the calendar
sure.
for this coming year.
Mhm.
Well, they're supposed to be on the calendar, once they're confirmed. But I think it's very helpful that we don't all duplicate effort and
You don't want to have the same person coming 6 times a month.
right.
It's like I recognize like over at Bill, Colonel Ledger related programming probably happen at the Bill Memorial Library, unless of course they
Or
need a
at the
bigger
fort.
venue. We'd be happy to help assist with that, but.
Colonel Ledger would be better at the fort because
Or
it's
the
nothing to
fort.
do with the library.
But I mean, just because it's in in
The
that
neighborhood,
region, if
right.
it was, if a program was gonna be at the library, it seems like a vast there, they've already had one and it was ridiculous, wildly attended. And, they in fact didn't have them for this standing room only, so.
The state has talked about creating a master calendar, the state commission.
Yeah.
I do know too that, as I mentioned, I think last time, that Connecticut Humanities does have grant funding available for certain programs, but we have to have an idea before we apply. And I'd like to get some more, you know, maybe it's for libraries, maybe
So,
it's.
Barbara, that thing that we attended up at Central, I just got
Mhm.
another, did you get an email from them? They're having something in airport.
Yes.
So are we looking at celebrating 250 years of history? Or are we looking at celebrating?
I think the first order of business we gotta figure out is how we're gonna, you know, curtail, because I mean, you could go all day with this.
So I was gonna say, if we're gonna look at the history of Groton over 250 years of
Yes.
this and the contribution. to
Mhm.
America, we should invite the Nautilus Museum. We had them on our committee when we celebrated Groton's 300th birthday. We are the submarine captain.
No, absolutely are. And that we could talk about that. I feel very strongly that, you know, you could go all day with Connecticut and regional but I mean, I think we have plenty with Groton alone. It's like
The
overwhelming.
state commission envisions it as, not so much a celebration of 250 years
Yeah.
of history or what
Right.
happened 250 years ago, but a kind of a celebration of freedom. What does that mean today?
Right.
Declaration of Independence and the Constitution.
Yeah,
that's what they
and there's-
focused on lot.
There's a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but there is some hesitation on the part of some groups to celebrate the creation of the republic and ignore the questions about slavery and equality.
Right.
So they don't see it as this 1776 date as something to celebrate it. They see it as something that is unfortunate because it pushed the slavery question under the table for, you know, almost 100 years until the
Sure.
Civil War. So to try and be more inclusive in the
Mhm.
celebrations, they're envisioning it as a celebration of freedom. Where did we go right? Where did we go wrong? What is, and more forward looking than past looking? How do we right the wrongs that have been done? You know, it's very broad. I mean, like the Guard Arts Center is thinking of doing a film series on the theme of freedom, films that look at questions about freedom and agency. I mean, it's very broad and everybody's kind of got their own ideas, which I think is.
Gonna be a busy year.
Yeah, it definitely is. Although I would think it would be, you know, to ignore things that have happened here, like, I mean, I know we've always go with the monument and what happened and when we, but people really, the whole, you know, story that happened there and what you do know, what you don't know, and the Benedict Arnold and what actually transpired and the many different people that were involved. It wasn't just, I mean,
Mhm.
the people that were there. And I think it's still, as I said, the Colonel Ledger program at Bill was packed. And so seeing all of it, I think is very important. In fact, I reached out, I did have a Gilder Lehrman, which is a very famous place where they have a lot of historical, they do everything from writing books to research. They have a display exhibitions that they allow people to rent or buy. And we had Frederick Douglass one recently, and they have one on this freedom, celebrating America's founding. So I'm hoping to get that. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best date to
Mm.
kind of have the exhibition, because you have it for 3 weeks. So I'm thinking maybe in the summertime, we see a lot of people coming, but it's just an added feature and it's gonna discuss all just America. celebrating. So, lots to consider and, but I think if we narrow down some topics and then segue into that, will be great. Looking forward to it. History lover, so.
Yeah.
So will you be sending an invitation to the whole board? to
I
participate?
will ask if anybody in the board, I'll send it out, whether you want to participate or not, it's totally up to you. And Ada, I don't know if there's, we'd love to have students,
Yeah.
get opinions of students, so if you're interested, I'll send it, I'll put you on the
Absolutely.
list as well.
Thank you.
And if you're interested to disseminate that, that'd be great,
Yeah. absolutely.
so. Wide burden, maybe it'd have to be subcommittees, I don't know, depending on what this looks like, but anyway, sorry, thank you for your patience, so.
No, thank
I know
you.
it's been a long time coming.
Any other issues or anything anyone wants to bring up? In that case, may I ask for a motion to adjourn
So,
and a second? Marilyn? Thank you very much, everyone.
thank you.